Hi, everybody. I'm Jason Klum, the host of the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. All of 2017, I'm listening to a comedy album a day. I'm kind of playing catch-up right now. Just stuff got in the way as it's going to, but I'm going to play catch-up. So today I am doing two albums. Now, the first of which is going to be 1971's I'm Everyone I've Ever Loved by Martin Mull. Now, you'll know from previously listening to this, to Martin Mull albums, I was a little shocked. Because I didn't know what to expect. Knowing him more as an actor, and a very funny actor, I didn't expect him to be doing comedy music. And very quickly, please go to youtube.com/comedy on vinyl to watch the rest of this. And so I didn't know what to expect. And it felt very Randy Newman-ish, because it's about the right period of time. The early to mid-70s. And this is 1977. It's very similar to the last one in terms of how it made me feel. It's not necessarily my style of comedy, but it's not bad. And I want to reserve some of this because we're actually going to be discussing this on the show soon. This was chosen by the guest that I'm going to have on our 6-year anniversary show. It's more important that we're having the guest we're having because he's a lot of fun to have on the show. And he picked this, and I own it, so I just figured I'll send him the link. And it's weird. It's very weird, but there's at least some sketch interstitials. It's comedy music with sketch interstitials, which is much more rare. It's usually the other way around. But I mean, there are guest appearances on here by Robert Klein, Melissa Manchester, Rob Reiner, a lot of Rob Reiner. Tom Waits is on here. Other names I should probably know. Few confusing inconsistencies with the lyrics on the sleeve, because he does print all his lyrics on the sleeve, which helps you know whether or not you're going to like what you're about to hear. I mean, the thing is, the music is great. Wonderful, really well-composed music in terms of like how well it's put together. It's just very middle of the road in terms of the content, unless I'm missing something. It's very, post-hippie, pre-yuppie. It's in this weird little place where like jokes are just, oh, that was a noise. Jokes are just things I say, and it's not satire. It is satire to a degree, but it's not very biting satire. So it's hard for me to, for lack of a better term, sink my teeth into. But it's in terms of the music, it's fun to listen to. We'll discuss it more on the 6-year anniversary episode of Comedy on Vinyl coming up in a couple weeks. The other album I picked was 1972's. Let me take this out of the sleeve so it doesn't blind everybody. Gore Vidal's An Evening with Richard Nixon. Now, I picked this because I've been doing a bunch of Nixon albums. Didn't know what to expect. Now, it is not... this is a Broadway show written by Gore Vidal. I'll point out where did it go? I think I showed you last time. Yeah, my best friend, Gore Vidal. That's me. That's my buddy Matt Sachs. And Gore Vidal called us better interviewers than Ken Burns. That is not a joke. It's very funny, though. So Gore Vidal wrote this. This is a play premiered in 1972 on Broadway. It is funny. It's hard to call it a comedy. It is very dry. And there's a playbook you can get of this where the play is in there. It's mostly actual Nixon speech transcripts with commentary around them in these various characters, including a Buckley type character and a Vidal type character. Neither of them punching each other in this, which is too bad. But I didn't know what to expect when I first started listening to it, so I didn't expect for one of the characters to sound so much like Gore Vidal when he started talking. And, they're really doing it up. This one is a little more on the depressing side because it's so on the nose, but it has to be because it is, again, transcripts. There's a tribunal though of Eisenhower, really not a person, Eisenhower, Washington, and Kennedy. All fair impressions, all good stuff. It's just a little more depressing. And there's some quotes though that are apparently very famous Nixon quotes that I had never heard. You're used to some very typical ones. I'm not a crook, and hearing him do a speech about his friggin' dog. But I think I would have made a good Pope is a really solid one. This is one of those, it is, I've told you what it is. It is taking transcripts and putting some script around it. those transcripts can be very depressing, and it's very straightforward about what's happening. But it's talking about how, nobody had ever seen a president just speak like this in front of people before. And it's not impressive. There's this thing where we talk about, wanting to see the humanity within in a president, and vulnerability. That doesn't mean you want to see somebody who talks like your next door neighbor necessarily. Like that's the other thing. I want to, I want to vote for somebody I can have a beer with. Well, if you have a beer with Richard Nixon, there's going to be a point there in the night where you're going to have regretted being there, whether it's a bad decision on his part or something that he says that makes you regret speaking to him. And it's not like people make fun of Joe Biden's gaffes, where he misspoke and said some really dumb stuff. I still respect the man, but he said some really dumb stuff. He called his future boss clean and articulate. You just don't do that. That's a gaffe. He was also vice president. But you don't sit there and say, fuck whatever part of the government he said, fuck you too, out loud. I would have made a good pope. There are these things that you don't. Yeah. It's hard to explain. Oh, my phone's about to die there. That's super exciting. Anyway, it's just, there's just too much ringing true to the point where it was hard to laugh. But it was worth putting together, and I'm glad Gore Vidal did it. And again, I'm glad he and I were best friends. So An Evening with Richard Nixon is 1972. I'm Everyone I've Ever Loved, Martin Mull, 1977. Both interesting, both on totally different ends of the comedy spectrum, of course. One of them, heavy satire, and also very, very rough to listen to. The other one, not heavy satire, also very rough to listen to. I'm going to be doing more of these. Obviously, I will be playing catch-up all, the next few days to make sure that I do listen to 365 albums this year. I do hope you're enjoying them. Subscribe at YouTube, please. Just click wherever the hell that is. Subscribe on iTunes. Follow us at Comedy on Vinyl, wherever you can. Go to stolendress.com. That's where all my other stuff is. I got a documentary that came out called Lords of Soaptown. Go to bit.ly/Soaptown DVD. Be great if you got a copy of that. Enjoy that. It's a story of a sport called freestyle walking. That's about it. So please enjoy this. Got new episodes of the Comedy on Vinyl podcast coming up. A bunch of really good, interesting people coming up that I can't quite talk about yet, but like some super, super exciting guests. Well, that's about it. I'm Jason Klom. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, have a good thing.